Good morning. My name is Anaya Lord, the Career Services Coordinator for Student Involvement and the Thurgood Marshall College Fund Campus Liaison and Coordinator for the Albert A. Sheen Campus. Today, I have the privilege and honor to serve as your Mistress of Ceremony. I would like to welcome and thank everyone for attending today's event. We are very honored to have you here with us, and especially our special visiting guest, Dr. Harry L. Williams, President of the Thurgood Marshall College Fund. He is accompanied by his wife, Dr. Robin Williams, Victor Santos, Senior Director of Government Relations for the Thurgood Marshall College Fund, and of course, we have in our presence our very own President, Dr. David Hall, who is accompanied by his wife, Dr. Marilyn Braithwaite Hall, two of President Hall's children, Attorney Rosanne Hall and Sakile Braithwaite, I do apologize, Hall. I was practicing all this morning. We also have in our presence members of the President's Cabinet, Shirley Lake King, Vice President for Administration and Finance, and our CFO here at the university. We also have Dr. Colvin Georges, who is our Dean of Students on the Albert A. Sheen campus, Una Dyer, Director of Presidential Operations, Narida Washington, Associate Vice President for Operations. We also have our academic deans here. We would like to welcome them. I know I did see Dr. Kendra Harris. And we would like to welcome we have our faculty who are here today with us, our students and staff. And I do see some of our TMCF scholars, past scholars in the audience who are productive members of our community, and I welcome them. So thank you. Now, I would like to invite the President of the University of the Virgin Islands, Dr. David Hall, to deliver the official welcome and introductions.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I want to thank Ms. Lord for that wonderful kickoff of this event and for having served as our TMCF liaison and leader. We are very delighted to have you serve as our MC today. This is a very, very special day for the University of the Virgin Islands. It is special because to have Dr. Harry Williams and his wife and Victor with us is extremely important. I will introduce him in greater detail later on. However, I want to say that having the representative from the most prestigious advocacy group for HBCUs in general, though the mandate in specific terms is public HBCUs, but he has been a strong voice for all HBCUs. And that makes this a very, very special day. So thank you for coming. It is also special because we are hosting this event in our Medical Simulation Center, which is a very, very special part of not only our existing reality, but our future aspirations for a medical school here. I hope some of you are able to stay and do the tour that will happen later on. so that you can see the cutting edge technology that exists on this campus and in this facility. It is also special because later on we will have the groundbreaking ceremony, which Dr. Williams will participate in for our School of Nursing. And that is a major accomplishment for us, and we're glad that you will be here to witness it. And finally, it is a special day because 51 years ago, I became a father. I know, looking at my youthful appearance, that's hard to believe, but it is the truth, and therefore it makes it even more special that my son, attorney Rasan David Hall, was able to join us and be here, not only for this event, but also on his birthday. So on behalf of the University of the Virgin Islands, we wish all of you, wish you a very, very happy birthday. I have still not forgiven him. Rasan spoke at my inauguration 14 years ago and had the audacity to make the point that he could not understand why I had been appointed president of a university on an island and I could not swim. That created enormous pressure on me, as you can imagine, and I am proud to say that I can now swim. Though there are other individuals who will come and present to you, I want to use this opportunity to now introduce Dr. Williams, even though he will be speaking later. I unfortunately have a conflict this morning because we participate in the HBCU Capital Financing Program, which has just been so instrumental for the university constructing buildings and doing other things. And there is an advisory board meeting this morning that I am a part of, so I will unfortunately have to exit and then come back. But I did not want to delegate this responsibility of introducing Dr. Williams. He is the current CEO and president of the Thurgood Marshall College Fund, which, as I indicated, is the premier advocacy group for HBCUs, and in that process has become a recognized educational leader in Washington and throughout the nation. Prior to this role, he was an educational administrator at various institutions in North Carolina. He then became provost of Delaware State University for 2 years and was the academic voice and leader of that institution. And then he was selected to be the president of Delaware State University in 2009. And he was able to put that institution on the map, in part based on the resources that he was able to bring to that university, the scholarship support for students that he was able to obtain, and the new programs that he was able to bring to that institution. We were fellow presidents at that time, and I was just always impressed by what I was hearing about Delaware State University under his leadership. And then in 2017, we were all pleased to find out that he was selected to be the new president and CEO of the Thurgood Marshall College Fund, which was announced at one of their galas, which was so appropriate, as you will hear in a moment. Under his leadership, he has been a strong advocate for public HBCUs. I recall that Congress had passed a law that provided loan deferral for private HBCUs, the same program that I am having to go meet with. And I brought it to Dr. Williams' attention that publics were left out. in a very short time, Congress was passing a similar law for public HBCUs because of the advocacy of Dr. Williams and his team. As you know, we went through, as all institutions did, tremendous financial challenges during the pandemic, and the CARES funds that came to UVI and that came to so many other HBCUs made a major difference. And his advocacy not only ensured that we participated in the funds that were set aside for all universities, but we participated in a special set-aside fund for HBCUs, again, because of his advocacy. And then, because of TMCF's and UNCF's advocacy, along with Congresswoman Alma Adams, we were the beneficiaries, along with a lot of other HBCUs, of the loan forgiveness program that was passed by Congress, signed by the president, that relieved us of a lot of debt. And having the types of relationships that Dr. Williams and his staff developed with Congress, with the White House, made all of that possible. Ms. Lloyd can talk about the fact that under his leadership, the Student Leadership Conference that TMCF puts on every year has grown. It attracts more students, more companies, and it is something that many of our students here today have benefited from in not only learning about leadership, but getting interviews with Fortune 500 companies, getting jobs because of this advocacy. The gala where he was announced as the new president is really the premier fundraising gala for higher education in the nation. It brings together not only students, but companies who publicly declare the millions of dollars that they are going to invest in HBCUs. It attracts some of the noted entertainers in the nation, and it is an event, as our students will testify, that you don't want to miss. And his leadership has only made that even more important. And finally, in these times of transition, I have given a lot of thought to the concept of leadership and what does it take to make individuals excellent leaders. And I have come to the conclusion that it is the values that the person possesses, not the position that they occupy, that makes them an effective leader. Watching Dr. Williams up close and from afar, he has the values of being a brilliant, thoughtful, kind, consistent person who has been able to combine humility and boldness. And it is the combination of those things that has allowed him to be an effective leader of over 50 institutions, public HBCUs, who look to him for resources, for advocacy, etc. And it is those values that have made a difference. So it has been a joy to have him with us for the last couple of days, and to have his wife and Victor with us as well. It is an honor for him to be able to come and later on share some words with you, answer your questions, but to symbolize to all of you who have any doubts that UVI is a proud HBCU, part of a legacy that has created so much progress in this nation, and we will continue to do so into the future. So thank you, Dr. Williams, for being here. I'm going to turn the program back over to Anaya Lord, and I will rejoin you later. Good morning. One last thing. These events do not come about easily. There are numerous individuals on this campus in student affairs and other areas that played such a critical role. We have our dean, our new Dean of Student Affairs, Dr. Georges, who him and his team have worked hard to make sure this could occur. And of course, the magical, brilliant, outstanding President Office staff that does so many things on the moment's notice. I came to UNA and said, oh, Dr. Williams is coming on the 13th, so we need an event, and I want it to be done on St. Croix because I want him to see this magnificent simulation center. Oh, and by the way, why don't we do the groundbreaking on that same day? And she was like, oh, okay. And here we are. So please thank the President's Office for doing this wonderful thing. Apologies for leaving, but you are in very good hands. Ms. Lloyd.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. Next, we will hear from the Dean of Student Affairs on the Albert A. Sheen campus, Dr. Colvin Georges, Jr., who will provide a brief overview of the Thurgood Marshall College Fund Program here at the University of the Virgin Islands.
Good morning. Good morning, esteemed faculty, staff, and our incredible students. Today, we are especially honored to welcome Dr. Harry L. Williams, President of the Thurgood Marshall College Fund. His presence symbolizes the robust and enduring membership between UVI and TMCF, a collaboration that has been enriching lives since the 1980s here on our campus. Through our collaboration and partnership with TMCF, the impact has been phenomenal. We've witnessed the transformative power of this collaboration and student success. Hundreds of students across our Albert A. Sheen and Orville E. Keene campuses have benefited from scholarships, professional development, internships, and employment opportunities. Annually, scholarships ranging from $500 to $15,000 have been awarded, supported by TMCF's generous funding. This funding also covers student participation in events like the TMCF Leadership Institute, emphasizing our shared commitment to student success. Our TMCF Professional Development Series and the impact TMCF campus takeovers earlier this year are prime examples of how we bring invaluable opportunities right to our students' doorsteps. Through these initiatives, we've seen our students gain direct access to recruiters from prestigious organizations like Amazon, Apple, and Microsoft, leading to internships and even full-time positions upon graduation. Let me share a few student success stories. Janelle Tyson, a recent UVI graduate, interned with Medtronic as the Global Communication and Marketing Intern, while Javon Navarro secured full-time positions within Caterpillar, Inc. after his internship as an entry-level accountant in the Finance Services Division. Idris Batiste's journey with Boeing and John Deere, all Polydor's role at Walmart, and Genesia Howell's position with Amazon all exemplify the remarkable opportunities TMCF has facilitated. Moreover, our students' creativity and entrepreneurial spirit were showcased in the Pitch 2019 Innovation and Entrepreneurial Competition. Milan Filbert was part of the winning team, underscoring our commitment to nurturing innovation. We also pride ourselves on participating in events like the TMCF Hackathon, where our students included Idris Batiste and Jair Smith showcased their talents, also earning internships with John Deere. These stories are not just achievements. They are a testament to the HBCU experience and the power of collaboration with TMCFs, as well as unwavering commitment to student success. Now, it is my distinct honor to introduce a shining example of this success, Nadej Barber, our TMCF student ambassador. Nadej's journey here at UVI, shaped in part by TMCF's support, is a source of inspiration for us all. Let's give a round warm of applause for Nadej Barber.
Good morning. I am truly honored to stand before you today and share my journey of personal growth and learning at the University of the Virgin Islands, and the incredible opportunity that a Thurgood Marshall College Fund internship provided me, ultimately leading to a full-time position offer. One transformative experience that significantly contributed to my leadership and teamwork skills was participating in the TMCF Leadership Institute Conference. I participated virtually one summer and in person most recently. This conference exposed me to a diverse range of leaders and thinkers, all sharing their insights and experiences. I was inspired to do more, and I want to extend that opportunity to other students. The pivotal moment of my journey came during a recent internship opportunity. In this role, I was challenged to think critically, solve complex problems, and adapt to fast-changing situations. I was not only offered a full-time position upon graduation, but I also took the offer with great enthusiasm. Accepting this offer is not just about my personal success, but it holds immense significance for me as a first-generation student. It represents breaking barriers, transcending limitations, and making my family proud. It is a testament to the incredible opportunities that UVI provides to its students and the unwavering support they offer to help us achieve our dreams, including the business department and the communications department. My story is just one of countless narratives that reflect the power of HBCUs and the transformative opportunities they offer. It is a reminder that regardless of where we come from, with dedication, hard work, and the support of institutions like ours, we can achieve greatness. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barber. Now I would like to welcome the UVI Voices of Inspiration Community Choir. We don't have all members here, and it will be led by none other than Josephine Thomas Lewis.
So, for the recording purposes, we'll do it one more time, okay? Since the mics were not on, all right? And you can feel free to sing along. I know I see some lips moving. I see people know the song, so feel free to sing it. Lord, I will lift mine eyes to the hills, knowing my help is coming from you. Lord, your peace you gave me in the time of the storm. You are the source of my strength. You are the strength of my life. And I lift my hands. I lift my hands in total praise to you. Amen. 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 Amen.
Of Institution, Community Choir. At this time, I would like to invite our special guest to come up and give some warm remarks to the University of the Virgin Islands, Dr. Harry Williams, President of the Thurgood Marshall College Fund.
Wow. Good morning. Good morning. I am blown away. I am so honored and humbled to be here with you all at this great university, UVI, one UVI. And before I even get into my prepared remarks, I would like for you all to join me in acknowledging, we call them our voices on the yard. And that is Anaya and her amazing team, and what she's done for the students here at UVI is absolutely incredible. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And your president is amazing. We recognized him at the Thurgood Marshall College Fund in 2015 as the HBCU President of the Year. And that is not an honor that we take lightly. It's an incredible honor that we started in recognition of some of the best HBCU presidents in the world. And you have one here at UVI, Dr. Hall. So, okay, back. So, Robin and I, we're a team, and when you're a team, you work together. And we're going to celebrate 32 years together in about 2 weeks. And I said, UVI will be your birthday, your celebration present. So Dr. Hall helped me out by inviting me to come here. So this is your anniversary gift. Welcome. Well, that's great. You don't get to go to the Virgin Islands every day. We're just so delighted to be here. And when I talked to Dr. Hall, part of my role at the fund is to come to the campuses, and we have 56 campuses now. We had 47, but we just added 6 HBCCs, historically black community colleges, and there are 6 in Alabama that just joined. And I was recently there a couple months back, and I met with all 6. I spent 3 days in Alabama, went through the whole state, and met with all of the presidents there and their campus leadership. And it is part of my role is to come to the campuses. And I saw Dr. Hall in Washington, and I said, Doc, I need to come to UVI. He said, well, come on. He said, you better do it quick, because I'm not going to be there much longer. So we moved quick. So to the team here, thank you. Thank you, Dean, for putting on this event so rapidly. It's amazing. I always like to start these conversations because I want the purpose of today is for us to have a conversation, for us to talk, and for you to ask me questions as it relates to the fund and why we do the things that we do, and what's the purpose of this organization. Well, this organization, for those of you who do not know, I know Naya, you know all of this, but I think it's important to kind of set the stage as it relates to why is it named the Thurgood Marshall College Fund. As you all know, Justice Marshall was the first African-American Supreme Court justice, but he was bigger than a Supreme Court justice, and he was someone that got up every single day focused on all of the injustices that existed in this country, more specifically injustices that impacted African Americans in the United States. And so our founder, Dr. N. Joyce Payne, in 1987, had a meeting with Justice Marshall. Now this is the spirit of our students at HBCUs. This is the boldness of this. She wanted to create a fund that would support black students attending the public HBCUs in this country. The United Negro College Fund is called UNCF. They represent the private HBCUs like Spelman, and they have been doing it longer, over 70 some odd years. But the public HBCUs didn't have anyone advocating specifically except for alumni and things of that nature. But she wanted to create an organization that would totally focus on advocating for those students. And it started out as TMSF, Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund, not TMCF, the name that we have today, but it was Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund, with the purpose of raising scholarship dollars to remove barriers that would prohibit our students from persisting towards graduation. Because students who attend HBCUs, a large percentage of those students are first in their families to go to college. They're also first in their family to have their family to make a financial investment in them. And so and in some cases, the investment requires a lot of resources from a limited pool of resources that families have to give. And so therefore, we wanted to alleviate some of that pressure by providing scholarships for those to help students move forward in a very intentional way. And when she was going through that process of deliberation, she said we needed to have a name that when you said it, people will stop and pause. And it would be a name that would stand out, and it would be a name that would resonate, not only within the African American community, but all communities. And we needed to have someone that exemplified excellence at the highest level. And so they sat in a room, and it said Justice Thurgood Marshall. And so, when they were in that room, it's all about relationships. No one had any relationship with Justice Marshall. But what I want to kind of give you a sense of Justice Marshall, Dr. Payne had this boldness and said, well, we're gonna request a meeting with him. And he invited her to come to the Supreme Court and meet with him. Just think about that. The boldness for you to think that you can write the Supreme Court justice, I want to meet with you. That's bold. But that was something that she had in her. She said, I want to meet with you. And at that time, you could go up to the Supreme Court. I see our Washingtonian here would know this. And they didn't have a lot of security around. So you can just walk up to the Supreme Court. You can see Supreme Court justices walking around, going from chamber to chamber. And when she walked up to the Supreme Court, Justice Marshall was walking to his office. And if those of you who have seen him on TV, you know he can be kind of grumpy, you know, and in his kind of, what can I do for you today? And so he invited her in to his office, and she made her pitch. Students, you hear about pitch. If you only got a short time frame, you make a pitch. And she made her pitch to him and said, we want to start this organization, but we need a name. And we would like to have your name to be attached to this. And it will continue to carry out your legacy. And we would do it by impacting students. So students will become Thurgood Marshall Scholars. So those students, Ms. Barber is a Thurgood Marshall Scholar. So when you have that name attached to you, you're carrying on the legacy of Justice Marshall. So we are very careful when we identify someone to have that name attached to them, because we know that you exemplify all the excellence, all the quality that Justice Marshall carried. So, Ms. Barber, you're going to do some great things in this world. I'm going to tell you that right now. And the exciting thing about that, so when she made that, he thought about it. And he said, why my name? And she reminded him that he was a 2-time HBCU graduate from public HBCUs. He went to Lincoln University in Pennsylvania, which is a small liberal arts HBCU. Langston Hughes was one of his classmates. That kind of give you a sense of the quality that was there on that campus. And then she reminded him that he went to law school at the only law school at the time that would accept African Americans, Howard University Law. And there was the law dean at the time was named Charles Hamilton Houston. And Attorney Hall over here knows the name really well. And he was this giant who worked for the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, but he was his mentor. And so when he went to the Supreme Court, and when Dr. Payne reminded him of that, he thought about it. And she said, we want to make sure that we have this, and our students know that when your name is attached to it, you're attached to it because you're an HBCU graduate. And these are the things that you have done, not only for the country, but for the world. And he said, And then he called his secretary in the room and say, write this up. And this is what is so important, students. And this is why when you have a lot, they're going to be expecting more from you. But also when you have to give, and you have to give of yourself. And Justice Marshall said, I'll have one caveat. I will give you the rights to use my name and my likeness forever. But I'm not going to charge you one dime for using my name. Make sure all the funds go to supporting the students. And we made that pact with him. I have a copy of that letter on my desk in Washington, D.C. with his signature, giving us the rights and privileges to use his name. I'm going to show you the power of one name. And by using his name, it provided opportunities for us to walk into doors, walk into CEOs' offices, and to say, we're representing this community. And by using his name over 37 years, we've been in the business of doing this. We have raised over $500 million by using his name. Now you think about that. Put your mind around that. And so this fund was created in that spirit. And it was created to be able to carry that legacy on. Now, I always tell students, they say, well, Justice Marshall was a Supreme Court justice. I said, no. He started out as an attorney. And he started out not in a big corporate law firm. He started out in a small law office in Baltimore. And then his dean Dean Houston invited him to be the lead counsel for the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. And this is significant because they had a strategy. They had a strategy how they were going to tear down a system that created this dual citizenship where we were less than. It was a Supreme Court decision called Plessy versus Ferguson, 1896, that set up the separate but equal doctrine. Said, okay, we can all be separate, but we can all be equal. Well, we were never separate but equal. Other schools, we were separate, but we were never equal in terms of funding. You can see this now real time in terms of what's happening. So Justice Marshall knew that this was prohibiting African Americans from moving forward. So we need to take this system and we had to rip this system apart. And in order for him to do that, one of the hardest things in the world to do is to take a Supreme Court decision that was made by justices who are supposed to be the brightest minds in the world and tell them that they were wrong. In that Plessy versus Ferguson decision, the vote was 8-1. One justice said no, and that justice was right. But 8 said, yes, we need to set this doctrine up. But in order to tear it down, they said we're going to develop a legal strategy and use the Constitution that's on the books that we all agreed on, as in terms of saying that this is just not right from that perspective. And Justice Marshall led that effort. He led it by traveling the South and going into places that you wouldn't dare go into, and where they would put African Americans on trial for trumped up charges, literally trumped up charges from rape, from stealing, from whatever, and they would always get convicted by an all-white jury. And he would go in and challenge these cases, and his hope was to get it on appeal and eventually get it to the Supreme Court. So 32 of those cases went to the Supreme Court, and he won 29 of those cases. Can you imagine that? 32 cases that focused on civil rights, focused on injustices that was happening in the community. He went there and he argued that, and he said, and so after creating that very intentional process of ripping down this system, there was one court case called Brown versus the Board of Education of Topeka, Kansas, 1954. That case was the accumulation of all of those cases together. And there were 5 states that were involved in this case. And Justice Marshall prepared, I was in the library not too long ago on the campus of Howard University, in a historic library that they have on their campus. He prepared the argument in that room. And he worked with some of the brightest minds in the world. There was this clinical psychologist, Kenneth Clark, and Mamie Clark, who created had this experiment about the doll, where they had a black doll baby here and a white doll baby, and what it was doing to our black children by them identifying the white as being better. And they said that's the part of this system that was created, and we need to tear this down. And when the Supreme Court voted unanimously to tear it down and to end segregation as we know it today and all the Jim Crow laws. So fast forward to where we are today. Fast forward to where we are today. And that's why I'm saying this, I'm putting this in perspective, because we need you, students. We need you. You got to continue to fight. You got to continue to fight. You got to continue to fight. This recent Supreme Court decision that was just made by a completely different court just basically took part of Justice Marshall's legacy and reversed it, just like that, and said that you cannot use race in decision-making when it comes to elite institutions. And this decision was a direct attack on Justice Marshall's legacy. And the reason why this decision was so important for everybody to understand, this was an affirmative action. And affirmative action is not something that's set up to give you an advantage. Affirmative action is designed to level the playing field, create equity, And when you create equity, that's doing fairness. What is right? If you've had all your life all of the advantages and someone else come along and they don't have the same advantages, that's not fair. So it's all about equity. And this was what this was all about. So part of the strategy now, and we're hearing this, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because more and more people are thinking about HBCUs now because of that decision. HBCUs have been in the business of preparing young people for over 150 years. We only make up 3% of all higher education institutions in America. There were 4,000 higher ed institutions. 3%, less than 3% represent HBCUs. But HBCUs produce more medical doctors than any other institution. They produce more attorneys, more PhDs than anyone. This 3%, less than 3%. So the quality that's coming out of these institutions is at the highest. And you're part of that legacy. And you should feel very, very good about what you're doing here at UVI. Because you're part of something that is big, something that is rich, and something that has a lot of history attached to it that's going to continue to elevate you. And at the Thurgood Marshall College Fund, we get up every day focused on how we're going to continue to support our institutions and making sure that you have the resources that is necessary so that you can grow and so that you can thrive and that you can do it in a way that will allow for you to not only elevate yourself and your community, but also elevate your family and everybody around. So I'm happy to be here to be a part of this program and to see this beautiful campus and see the transformation that is occurring on this campus. And literally transformation is happening right before you. And it's about leadership. Look in this building here, the simulation building. This is, I know for a fact, and having spent a lot of time talking to President Hall about this, I know he had a battle to get this. I know he had to battle to get this, to make the case on why you need a facility like this that's going to help not only the students here, but the community. Everybody benefits when you have something like this. And it's going to support you, but it's going to support those who are going to come behind you. And the responsibility that we all have to make sure we preserve that every single day. So I'm honored and excited about what is going to happen here. I'm excited about what the students are doing and what we do at the Leadership Institute. There is not an institute anywhere else in the world where we bring in over 500 students from all of our campuses for a week. And they experience exactly what Anaya and them have been talking about in terms of engaging some of the top Fortune 100 companies in the world. And the reason why you have that access is because of Justice Marshall's name that will allow us to gain access to those CEOs because they know that quality exists at our institutions. And when you go to those institutions and find that quality, you're not only going to support your family, but you're going to help those who are looking to take from you in terms of your skill. So at this time, what I want to do is to pause and open the floor for any questions that any of you might have as it relates to the Thurgood Marshall College Fund and what we're doing today and what we're continuing to do for HBCUs. Thank you.
Hi, how are you? I was wondering if you could clarify the statement about 3% of the colleges and turning out more PhDs. And
what I stated was that out of all the colleges and universities in America, there are over 4,000. HBCUs represent 3% of those, which is 101, less than 3%, which is 101 of those institutions. And what from a statistical standpoint, 80% of the judges in this country graduated from an HBCU. 50% of the doctors, black doctors that we have, graduated from an HBCU. So those 50%, 40% of all black engineers who are here in this country graduated from an HBCU. So what I'm saying, if you compare, we are graduating the largest share, but the percent that we have is the smallest share in terms of what we're doing. And that's the power of these institutions and the power of the students who attend these institutions. What we do know is that statistically, African American students who attend a historically black, we did a comparison of black students who went to historically white institutions and black students who went to historically black institutions. Over the lifetime of earnings, HBCU students outperform black students by over $1 million in their lifetime in earnings from that perspective, because of what they achieved in the community that's been created on these campuses that is more long-lasting. One of the things that I hear from time to time, when students go to a historically white institution, that it's hard to feel a part of being this belonging, which is just very important for students to feel connected. And HBCUs, there's a community there because those institutions were created for you. And when that's a different environment when you're in from that perspective. And you can't explain that to anyone unless you've been a part of that community. The one thing that I like to explain it this way, when we were taking our son on a campus tour at Howard University, the tour guide said to our son, and we were just listening, and he said, why should you come here? And the tour guide said, because if you come here, you can find your voice. And I started thinking about that. He said, you can find your voice. I mean, you can find yourself in a place that allows you to be yourself versus trying to be someone else from that perspective. And that will give you that community there. And because when you're walking around the facilities, you look at the names of the legendary figures, they all look like you. And there's something to that from a psychological standpoint for building up your community and building up your presence there.
Greetings, Dr. Williams. I had a two-part question right over here.
Oh, okay.
A two-part question. One, my first question is, does TMCF primarily or only support undergraduate students? And for the second part of my question, we were able to hear how students are able to benefit, like from a financial standpoint in terms of professionalism and being able to secure or have the potentiality to secure really good jobs. But how would you say for students who are not familiar with the program, how are they able to benefit developmentally from the program?
So the first question, yes, we do have programs for graduate students, but they're very limited. The focus primarily is for undergrad students from in terms of scholarships. That's the largest share of students that we support. Second, in terms of our programs, what we are hearing from corporate America, when we talk to CEOs and we have conversations with them, they are sharing with us what's missing from students when they come into their workplace. And so what we do at the Thurgood Marshall College Fund, we have a development program, and in partnership with our campus coordinators, we help our career services office. And one of the things that they're saying is that some of our students are lacking what they call soft skills. How to communicate, how to interact in a setting, like if you walk in a room like this, how do you network in this space here? And the only way you can, and especially if you're the first person in your family to go to college, you're going to be the first person in your family potentially to be exposed to corporate America. And if you don't have someone already in the household that's preparing you for that, sometimes it becomes difficult. So what we do, we're the safety net where we bring you in and you can make those mistakes, but we will help kind of groom you so you don't, when you get in a setting and when you present your resume to an employer, we go through this process. I think we did that here on the campus when we did a takeover. We did this process of helping you to formulate your resume so that it will present yourself in a way that will make you competitive with other applicants. And that's the one thing that we do very intentionally. We don't. And my wife is a former college professor, so and I learned this from her. In teaching students, you don't set them up for them to trip them up. And if you're trying to teach them a subject matter, you want to make sure you give them the answers to the subject matter that you're trying to teach, so they understand what you're trying to teach, what you're trying to provide them. So we provide, we call it the inside tips on how to how to get past a process that wasn't set up for you, and help you understand the language that's used in that environment. And that's part of the thing that we do, because we know that our students are very, very talented, but you don't know what you don't know. You can be the smartest person in the world, but if you don't know the environment that you're going in, how are you going to survive? And part of our job is not only helping you get these jobs, but make sure you stay in these jobs so that you can advance and there's a path forward for advancement.
Thank you for that. Good morning, Dr. Williams.
Good morning.
My name is Marcus Kern. I'm a student here at UVI. My question is in reference to the HBCU Capital Financing Program that Dr. Hall had mentioned. It had me thinking, outside of just scholarly pursuits like internships and scholarships, are there ways that TMCF provides for communities, be that like sports programs or just, I know in DC, they work hard on educational infrastructure. They've been doing a lot of improvement on schools, high schools, elementary schools. And I was wondering, is TMCF involved in that at all, or just other types of community development? Well, first of all, what's your name again? Marcus Kern. Marcus, that's a very, very good question. I mean, it's a very, very thoughtful question, and it's something that it makes sense. And the answer to your question, one of our top priorities, and Victor will tell you this, is infrastructure. Because we recognize the importance of this celebration that we're going to participate in today. This is huge. Whenever you break ground on a campus and you got the resources to take care of that, this is huge to do that. But we want to make sure that there are funds in the bank. They're called continuation funds, not one-time dollars. We want what we call reoccurring dollars that you keep getting on an annual basis, because you need to make sure some of our campuses, we have what they call, there's a term, it's called deferred maintenance, and that's maintenance. Y'all know what that means? So part of the deferred maintenance, because they give you the millions to put it up front, but they're not giving you money that's continually coming in, because that light bulb is going to go out, and you got to have resources to replace that. So part of our advocacy in Washington is to make sure that you got reoccurring dollars, because on some of our campuses there are deferred maintenance in the hundreds of millions of dollars, because you can get the new facility, but you don't have enough in the bank there's a reserve, they call it, your cash reserve that you can use that will allow for you to maintain the quality of the facility that you have for a long time from that perspective. So yes, we do. We're very razor focused on that, and we are now in a very strong position, our community, in terms of HBCUs, where we're bringing this attention to some of the key decision makers. That's one of the things that Victor is responsible for. You go to Washington, you see Victor, he's following these people all around. He's all going to their offices, they see them all walking, they get tired of them. We want them to get tired of seeing Victor, because that's part of the going in and showing up. And you remind them the same thing over again. And we have a very simple, our role when we show up on the Hill, they know what we're coming for. There's no confusion that we're coming to advocate for HBCUs. And what's so important about this particular visit for me is that they like to hear stories, and they like to hear real stories that you can connect with people. So I can get up there and say that part of the funding, I know they're going to build a brand new nursing facility. They can pinpoint that, and I can say that's real. And you can see how those dollars will be used in a way that can support one of our campuses, Florida A&M.
in Tallahassee, Victor just got back from there where they took $15 million and purchased a apartment complex in the community because of their growth that's occurring. But they couldn't have done that if they didn't have that ready cash on hand to be able to get something like that. So yeah. And then I think I heard you say athletics. Part of the athletic piece, I leave that up to the president to decide on that, because usually those are institutional funds that you use to kind of for that area, or through fundraising from your alumni. I know you, from that perspective. So we don't get into that area.
All right, thank you so much.
Yep.
Good morning, sir.
Good
My
morning.
name is Shania Forbes. My question is similar to like that of Marcus. So I am familiar with the Thurgood Marshall, that usually you support students that are like in STEM or law or in medical fields. But what if I'm more interested in a field that wouldn't necessarily be found in a HBCU? For instance, I'm interested in animation and voice acting. You wouldn't normally find those. Are there still ways that you can help to support me, even if I still attend a historically black college?
Yes, we have programs that are set up from a scholarship perspective. You would be definitely eligible for that. But for some companies that we have, if there's there are a wide variety of majors, and you're right, the majority of our majors that we're utilizing right now are STEM majors, and engineering is a big area for some of our partners. But we do have some very small amount in the arts from that standpoint. But there's some strategic ones that might be of interest for some companies. But those are the ones you got to dig down and kind of look for. But from a scholarship perspective, you would definitely be eligible for that to help you with your education. We just had a partnership with Disney, and we had a partnership with MGM. What is it, MGM, and some of those programs there, and there's some scholarships associated with it. And I can see some of the placement there, but you just got to explore a little bit deeper on our website. Okay. Good. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Robin. I&E, this is a big initiative that we have been engaging in. It's entrepreneurship, innovation and entrepreneurship, and we have these pitch competitions. I think some of the students here participate in the pitch competition, where they get to see your skill in a different setting. So those I&E competitions will be good, because I think I looked at my notes. You did Kiewit. Didn't you do Kiewit in Nebraska? Didn't y'all participate in the pitch there? I thought there were some students there. And so those are companies that we expose students to, and they get to see you, even though your major may not be a science major, but you will be eligible to participate in those programs. And we actually invite students from those other disciplines to do that. Good. Be a question right here, and then how are we on time? Make sure.
I'll be the last one.
Okay.
Good morning. My name is Lenice. Excuse my voice. It was homecoming this weekend. Just a question. What does Thurgood Marshall do for students who are over the age of 30 who are full-time students, or even over the age of 40 who are full-time students?
We don't discriminate by age. And Justice Marshall, he was all about equity. Now we do have students, I call them maturing students that participate in some of our programs. Especially, we have a big law immersion program that usually have some older students participate in that. They also can participate in some of the pitch competitions too. and they're eligible for scholarships too. Because the eligibility for scholarship doesn't have anything to do, it's just your classification. If you're a sophomore, junior, senior from that perspective. But yeah, and the reason why again is because the focus is on that undergraduate student. That was a primary focus of our founder, and we have grown, but the majority of the students are going to be like Miss Barber right here. That will be part of the program. But we want you to apply though. You guys have been absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to engaging with some of you at lunch. I believe we're going to have lunch here. We're also going to do the presentation. I also want you all to know you have an incredible First Lady, and Miss Dr. Hall right here. Dr. Hall, that she is. Rob and I, we really enjoyed our time with them last night, and again, I cannot emphasize how this has been such an important visit for us, and I can tell you we will be back. There's no question about that. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Williams, for your inspiring remarks. At this time, we have 2 short student presentations, and I would like to invite Ms. Shania Forbes, a communication student, to perform an art selection led by Dr. Sharon Honoré.
Good morning, honored guests, faculty, staff, and fellow students. My name is Shania Forbes, and on behalf of Dr. Sharon Honoré, I will be representing the communication unit. Today, I shall recite a piece for you, Brother Man, by Ken Chemistry. Brother man, sister girl, can I help you? Let me cut to the rhythm of your attitude. Understanding, love, patience, a little kindness will help to relieve your spiritual blindness. Let us break the metaphysical down to the marrow. God loves you. Still, he keeps the sparrow in his hands. Let me tell you, he's got a plan, y'all, and I'm sure it's going to be groovy. So, think about the days when living wasn't easy. Think about the times when life was so misleading. Think about the days before they had any meaning. Think about these things. What a difference you'll make. God's gonna heal you everywhere you hurt. You've done all you can, so just watch him work his wonders. See this one of this mystical sweetness. Folks, stick around as we watch him complete this thing he has done for you and in me. Cast your cares into the seas of tranquility, which, by the way, you know he would never let you drown in. So why do we die on the beach when love abounds in ways untold? People watch their dreams unfold. Every day, in the blink of an eye, a sleight of hand. Trust me, y'all, when I say God is the man, he can, and most definitely will, rest your soul. See, truth be told, let him have control. See, his eye is always on you, and still he keeps the sparrow, even though life isn't easy. So, Think about the days when love was only fleeting. Think about the days before they had any meaning. Think about these things. What a difference you'll make. Think about the days. Won't you think about the days when living wasn't easy? Think about these things. When the days before they had any meaning. Think about these things. What a difference you'll make. Think about the times when life was so misleading. Think about the days when they had any meaning. Won't you sit around and think about these things? Won't you? Won't you? Think about the days when life was sad. Think about the times when love was something you lacked in. Think about the days when you lived on your knees and hands. Won't you think about these things? What a difference you'll make. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now at this time, we will have our final student testimonial, and I would like to invite Michael Bell, a UVI alumnus, May 2023, and a Thurgood Marshall College Fund Scholar from the Albert A. Sheen campus.
It's surreal being back at my alma mater. It's really great to be back today. Good morning, First Lady, UVI faculty, staff, fellow TMCF members, and TMCF President, Dr. Harry L. Williams. It's a pleasure to see you again. My name is Michael Christopher Vidal Bell, a proud member of the UVI class of 2023 and a graduate of the only HBCU in the Caribbean. In 2022, I had the awesome opportunity of attending the 22nd Thurgood Marshall College Fund Leadership Institute, which was hosted in the concrete jungle of New York City, with the theme of an empowered state of mind. Being unfamiliar with TMCF and taking the leap, I began one of the most rigorous selection processes and weekly mentorship sessions in order to qualify for this prestigious program. I remember arriving in New York with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. At the TMCF LI, I was afforded the opportunity to network with top Fortune 500 companies, attend recruitment fairs, panel discussions, empowerment hours with entrepreneurs and business leaders. Through these activities, I was able to develop skill sets that companies are looking for, with access to internships, fellowships, scholarships, and amazing prizes to continue my academic endeavors. Most importantly, I believe that TMCF serves as a catalyst for HBU students like me to serve as ambassadors for our universities, thereby keeping the legacies of TMCF and TMCF LI alive. I firmly believe that my time at TMCF helped to set me apart from my peers, which allowed me another amazing honor as being part of this year's White House HBCU Scholar Initiative, marking UVI's first time being bestowed such a prestigious recognition. Thanks to TMCF, I was able to sharpen my leadership qualities and skills to become more confident in interacting with others. These qualities allowed me to become our 2023 class speaker at commencement, a White House HBCU scholar, a proud member of the National Association of Black Journalists, a strong leader of our very own student chapter of UVI ABJ, of which I was a former vice president and president of. And now I am a proud member of the third cohort of the GVI Financial Fellows Program. It is my hope that my fellow proud Buccaneers take advantage of this opportunity and become part of this prestigious organization by meeting with our yard ambassador, my best friend Nadej Barber, speaking to Ms. Lord, shaking hands with the president of TMCF, and networking with his team. My sincere hope is that UVI continues to show the ferocity and pride of an HBCU worthy of standing with the best and the brightest, and to simply say to our other HBCU cohorts at TMCF that we are here, the only HBCU in the Caribbean. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michael Bell. I'm sure you see that he was beaming with excitement. When we were going to New York, Michael was so quiet. I was like, Michael, everything okay? He was like, yes. And let's go to the recruitment fair. I want to go to the Secret Service. And that was one of his main goals. And he went to the Secret Service. And they visited our campus this year, 5 members of their team. And we were working on trying to get him in there. I don't know if the secret is out the bag now. But he's doing great things, and he is working with the government of the Virgin Islands through the Fellows Program. He interned as well with the governor's office through our labor lift program, and he actually interviewed the governor. And Dr. Honore, I would like to also recognize her. She is a strong supporter of the Thurgood Marshall College Fund. She helps to prepare our students participating in mock interviews, panel interviews. I also did invite 2 very dear key members of our University of the Virgin Islands staff who was here with us before. Miss Maria Friday, she has since retired from the University of the Virgin Islands, and she used to work in the residence halls and would recruit those students, and we would have those TMCF tables in the residence hall, and that visibility was always there and is always there. And we have Miss Maritza da Costa, who is now working within the public sector, and she has helped with all our professional development of our students. It takes a team dearly. We have Ms. Towell here as well, helping the students with their resumes, and we have the support of our staff who encourage our students to attend these initiatives and be part of it, and we have other faculty here who make sure that our students are part of it. So we have come to the conclusion of this phenomenal program, and I would like to once again thank everyone for their attendance. And I would like to close with a quote from one of our Thurgood Marshall College Fund ambassadors, because we normally ask the students to write a report after they have actually attended the conference. And this is from one of our 2-time scholars, Javan Navarro. And he said, "The Thurgood Marshall College Fund provides a platform that opens the doors of opportunity. It helps you to become immersed into the real world beyond the classroom. You learn how to become a leader and a change initiator. You do come in as a student and leave as a professional. Thank you once again for your attendance, and you are invited to some refreshments in the adjacent room. Thank you."